Today I'll be reviewing slash discussing Boruto chapters 32 through 34. So chapter 32, 3, and 4. So before I start the video, I want to say the reason I'm making these now is because I plan on uploading the next chapter review. Today's the 18th and it'll come out on the 19th or 20th, I believe, Friday. So even though these are old, I want to give out my thoughts on them before moving on to the next chapter. So these chapters will basically be the chapters, well, the end of Naruto's fight with Delta, along with the beginning of Kawaki's training and him learning ninjutsu, and him as he's learning to bond with Naruto and all the other people around him. I know these chapters are old, so there's not much to speculate on since they've been answered within chapters of each other, some of the questions that I could have initially speculated on, but I want to give my thoughts on some of these chapters and what I thought while reading them and what they could mean in the future. So I'll go over them briefly since they're already old. So chapter 32, it was called Ode Depths. And so in this chapter, Naruto is facing Delta and Kawaki and Boruto and Himawari are on standby just because they can't really do anything when it comes to a fight with Naruto and someone like Delta whose abilities they don't really know. And it was just a major clash of power. We see Naruto using that lava-style Rasen Shuriken, Delta with her laser beams that can cancel out Naruto's regeneration powers. And midway through the fight, we see Boruto decide to get involved for some reason, even though he's been constantly told not to. I guess if he sees his dad in trouble, he's gonna instinctively respond out of human instinct, but this is kind of an ongoing thing with Boruto where he just kind of acts instead of thinking. And it's honestly getting old. I don't know if he'll get over it eventually, if it's just in his character to do so. But since we all know and it's been stated that Boruto is supposed to be smarter and more skilled than Naruto, I'd like to see him use his brain more often. I like Boruto's character, but sometimes he's doing it just a bit too much. And we also see Delta use her ability in this fight, and she basically has similar abilities to Boruto and what the other Otsutsuki like Momoshiki have to absorb and repel ninjutsu. And then while they're fighting, Boruto gets involved and his attack doesn't work, which because Delta absorbs it. And then Delta decides to take Himawari and throw her in the air like what Frieza did to Krillin. But before she can blast her, Kawaki jumps in the way to protect her. And then he ends up losing his right arm. And Delta is shocked because Kawaki acts like he actually cares and more like a human, which was completely shocking to her. And it also shocked Naruto and the others. That was the last thing they were expecting Kawaki to do. And at the end of the chapter, Kawaki has his line at the end where he tells Boruto, "It looks like we're even." And he's referring to the vase since he broke it a few chapters ago. So I think that chapter was really good, especially now in hindsight, because we know it's the beginning of where Kawaki begins to bond with Naruto because he went out of his way to sacrifice one of his arms to save Himawari. And I think that just goes to show you what kind of effect Naruto is just starting to have on Kawaki. So, chapter 33 was called Exceeding the Limits, and that title goes hand in hand with exactly what happened in this chapter because this chapter was the end of the fight with Boruto, or not Boruto, Naruto and Delta, and it had a lot of fighting. The last one had a lot of fighting too. This arc is kind of giving me those Dragon Ball Z vibes with Delta being an android, and then all these fighting moves and clashes throughout the chapters. There's even this one panel where Naruto and Delta are charging at each other, and then they do that classic shonen double punch, where they both punch each other and then kind of go backwards. But my favorite part of the chapter was towards the end, where Naruto tells Delta that he warned her about touching Boruto and the children, and says that it's too late for her and that he's gonna hunt down Jigen, take her down, and then finish him off too. Then he decides to finish her off with a super giant Rasengan that she can't absorb or even counter. One thing I want to talk about before I talk about the end of the fight is how in the beginning, before, or not the fight, in the beginning of the chapter we saw Delta saying that Kawaki is nothing but a vessel to Jigen. It makes me wonder if Kawaki is the only possible vessel because we see that Delta is strong, and we can only assume that the other members of the Kara are strong, but is Kawaki the only potential vessel because of his body? Does he have some sort of special lineage? Is he a secret Uchiha? That'd be pretty crazy. It's almost like Kawaki is Senju DNA to Jigen. I remember in Naruto Part 2, the solution to everything was Senju DNA. Danzo needed an arm, it had to be part Senju DNA. Madara went out of his way to put Hashirama's face on his chest. That's how much you need Senju DNA in the series. So if Kakuki turns out to be some sort of a Senju, I'm not even surprised. I'm not. But there isn't really much to talk about story-wise when it comes to this chapter, because all we really got to see was Hokage Naruto's power on full display, while also seeing deltas, because we also know now that there's a limit to how much delta can absorb, because when Naruto made the super giant Rasengan, she couldn't do a thing to it. Her eye just kind of short-circuited and fried out. And during the entire fight, it seemed more like Naruto was analyzing, because if he had one-shotted her, he wouldn't have gotten any information from that. So during the entire fight, he was more so trying to figure out her abilities to see if what he could learn and get some insight on what the rest of the Kara's abilities might be, which I think was very smart on Hokage Naruto's part. So like I was saying before, not much to analyze or break down in this chapter aside from what I mentioned before. But in chapter 34 is where it all kind of closes, and then we get a bunch of information dropped on us. But in the beginning of the chapter, it picks up where the last one ended. I feel like the last chapter should have ended where this one began in a way, because we get complete closure with the Naruto and Delta stuff, because Delta decides to blow herself up, and Kawaki first tries to warn Naruto to finish her off, but Naruto, I guess he didn't want to kill her because he could get information from her by interrogation using like Ikibi, or was that his name? The bald dude with like the scar on his face? I don't know if he's still around, but they could use somebody like that in the Intel Corps to gather information from her, but I guess she destroyed herself to prevent that. We also see Kashin Koji, who says that Naruto's power is impressive but not enough to defeat Jigen, and that the karma Boruto has is key. So I'm wondering if Kashin Koji is ever going to be willing to disclose that information to us at the Leaf, because clearly he wants Jigen taken down, or it seems like he doesn't want Jigen around, or he has some sort of plan to get rid of Jigen. We have no idea what it is at this moment. There are still those people who think it's Jiraiya doing stuff in disguise, but the way he refers to Naruto leads me to believe that it's not Jiraiya. So when Naruto and the others head back to the Leaf, Naruto has Katatsuke gives Kawaki a new prosthetic arm that needs Naruto's chakra to work. And Boruto's just like, cool arm, and because that's exactly what you say to a guy who just lost his arm. And Kawaki's just like, yeah, I'll blast yours right off and we can be the same. So after that, we switch over to the Kara base where Delta is revived, and we find out that there are actually multiple Deltas and that she can just transfer her mind even after blowing up her last body into another one, which pretty much solidifies the fact that she's actually an android and not a cyborg, because if she was a cyborg, after blowing herself up, she would have been dead, but she's just transferred bodies, essentially, right now. So I wonder if her conscience is always in that drone that we saw flying around, and that the body is just like, I don't know, remote controlled by what's inside the drone. We also get the name of two of the Kara members who are at the base. One is Boro, and I'm guessing his counterpart is Code, because Code says that he and Boro are going to go after them next. And I like how they're just casually talking about going after Naruto, like it's going to be easy. Delta also tells Jigen about how Boruto has the karma too, which makes Jigen interested in Boruto. So now Boruto has a target on his back. And he also seems to think that Momoshiki is using Boruto as a vessel, similar to what Kawaki is doing for him. And it makes me wonder if Boruto and Momoshiki are gonna have a connection similar to what Naruto and the Nine Tails have later on. Because right now Boruto has access to the karma, even though he doesn't have control, he does have the ability of the karma which Momoshiki possessed before. Maybe Boruto is just gonna slowly inherit Momoshiki's abilities over time, and by the time the time skip happens and Boruto faces Kawaki, those are just all Momoshiki's true abilities when combined with Boruto's. Something else to take note of is the fact that this is the fourth time an Uzumaki is being used as a vessel in the series. So first we can go back to Mito Uzumaki, the first Hokage's wife, who was the Hidden Leaf's first Nine Tails Jinchuriki. And then it was passed on to Naruto's mom, Kushina Uzumaki, who became the second Jinchuriki host, or a vessel. Then was Naruto, who became the Nine Tails vessel. And now Boruto is going to be Momoshiki's vessel. The Uzumaki always have a target on their back. First, their clan was nearly wiped out after getting jumped by all the villages. and now this. So anyways, after that we switch over to Kawaki at Naruto's house, and he wants to know why Naruto did so much for him. And Naruto says it's because he tells Kawaki that he reminds him of him when he was a kid. Then Kawaki says, I don't want to add any more trouble, but if you don't mind, would you mind training me in ninjutsu? And of course, Naruto agrees to that. Then we switch over to our regular scheduled card advertisement with Boruto and his friends playing the game. And as always, Boruto gets the Naruto 7th Hokage card. And Kawaki ends up getting the 4th Hokage's card. So Kawaki asks Boruto if they can trade since he doesn't know who the 4th Hokage is. So Boruto and Kawaki trades cards. And I'm wondering if that actually has another meaning behind it, because right now, Kawaki's about to start training with Naruto. Maybe Boruto's going to learn one of the 4th Hokage's jutsu. I don't know. But after that, we get a training montage of Kawaki just hanging out with everyone. Him learning ninjutsu while also trying to fix the vase. And you already know the anime is going to turn one panel into an episode. It's going to be completely crazy when we get to it in the anime in like 2046. And at the end of the chapter, we see Kawaki looking for the one piece that he needs to fix the vase. And then Ninetales comes out and says, don't stray far from Naruto. And that's where that chapter ends. And I know there's 3 more chapters to review, but I'm going to review those in the next video so that this one isn't too long. And so that's where the chapter ends. I think these chapters were really good. We got the end of the Delta fight along with the transition into Kawaki beginning to learn ninjutsu while also creating a relationship with Naruto and Boruto's friends. We also got new members of the Kara in these past 3 chapters. And we got a lot to speculate on regarding Jigen and his connection to Momoshiki and what it could possibly be. And if Jigen is possibly preparing for an Otsutsuki attack, that could be what he's preparing for. But I feel like if Jigen was preparing for an Otsutsuki attack, I think he'd ask the savior of the ninja world, Naruto, for help, instead of trying to fight him like he's going to do within the next few chapters. So let me know what you thought of these chapters. I'll also be reviewing the next 3, like I said before. I'll also be making a review of the Alola League Finals, completely unrelated to Boruto and Naruto, but just wanted to say it in this video. And thanks for those who have subbed. I haven't uploaded in about 7 to 8 months, and I'm sorry for not uploading because I haven't been feeling motivated, but I will be uploading again later. So thanks for watching, and bye.